for being here this evening.
Affections toward you, that there's nothing more important than our love for you, but we can't love you the way that we should if we don't love one another. So continue to help us in the art of learning how to love one another and to just demonstrate our act of worship to you toward how we treat one another. We are grateful for your love and friendship, and thank you for being with us today. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Let's say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Bussey. I'm calling the board meeting for the school board meeting of Clay County to start the school board meeting of Clay County for April 1st, 2021. Let me get my tongue in order here and I will continue. Welcome, citizens of Clay County. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend tonight's school board meeting. This meeting is our opportunity as your elected representatives to collaborate openly and make decisions that will decide the future direction of our public schools and the education of our children here in Clay County. If you wish to address the board on an agenda item, there will be an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Please fill out a card. Do we have any yellow cards available, Mr. Bickner, that you can hold up? Or I know we have lots of them filled out. Good. There's still some that need to be picked up. If you would hold them up high, and they will be picked up. Thank you so much. On that card, hopefully you indicated the specific item number or topic you wish to speak about, and we'll have a final call for cards prior to the consent agenda. No additional cards will be accepted once the board moves to the public comment section under presentations from the audience. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. We're going to start this evening's meeting with a recognition of the National Science Foundation 2020 Presidential Award for Excellence in Science Teaching. Ms. Heather Tito, Chief of Elementary
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Before Ms. Tito starts, I'd like to ask that we rearrange our agenda. And since we have all these folks here who want to speak on item D for the RFP to be awarded, I'd like us to move it up so that we can address it and they can go on their way and not spend 3 hours sitting here at our school board meeting.
Absolutely.
Let them do their thing. So
I was going to make...
nobody wants to be
Of
here.
course.
We know that. And,
I hear you.
And I think we should address it as sooner better than later.
And here's my question. Do you want to do it before the consent agenda or shortly after the consent agenda?
Because it's not part of the consent agenda, we certainly can approve it prior to that. It's a separate discussion item which can be moved up. So I would like us to do it even before Ms. Tito. I'd
Even
like
before
to
Ms. Tito.
address it and let these people get on their way. They're in sports uniforms. They obviously have somewhere to be.
Ms. Tito, would you mind having a seat?
Thank you.
Does
Sorry.
anyone else on the board have any conflict with that? So we're going to move the discussion item. Let me get this right. Basically, it's discussion item number 4.
So before we have all our public comments.
Hang on, RFP to be awarded. That would come before the consent agenda. My one concern, I also understand that Ms. Bullock wanted to discuss something with the consent agenda that was pulled.
I did, but that's
It's fine, where it's located, that'll be fine. That's what I wanted to double check with. Thank you very much. And I don't have any of the comment cards yet. They are still in the process of getting
Well,
put together.
I think if we just take a second, I fully intend to support this. There's been a lot of misinformation and miscommunication out in our community that the board doesn't care about our fields, the board doesn't care if they're safe. Not sure where that's coming from or who, that the schools are going to lose their funding if we don't approve this. This board cares deeply about our students, whether they're in the classroom or on our athletic fields. And I, for one, am going to support it. Ms. Clark made the motion the last time. I would imagine, I don't know how you two are going to vote or not, but I can't see this not passing tonight and business to go back to the way it was. So I feel like if you know our intention, maybe you don't want to stand up here and 50 people say the same exact thing. So, I just want to put it out there that I fully intend to support it tonight, and I think we should go ahead and talk about it. I mean, we can go ahead and do all the cards, absolutely, but, if we had a consensus where the community knew that the majority was voting for this, it may not be the issue that it has turned into, that it didn't need to turn into. So, we all deeply care about our fields, our classrooms, our gymnasiums, our resources, and, I want to put that out there.
Please, Mr. Bickner.
Ms. Bola, can you tell from the number of cards, how many people are here to speak to this specific item of
D4.
all of them? Is it all?
Well, I guess the question would be, knowing that the board may possibly, approve it, do you still want to speak? All right.
I believe that, well, they're 25, close to 30.
And they're all for this RFP?
Hang on. Let me double check. Thank you for your patience.
So are we officially taking this item up now? Because I know I need to state that I'm.
I can't hear you.
Are we officially taking up this item right now? Because I know that I need to
16,
state that I'm
28.
recusing myself.
You go ahead with that,
Okay.
yes.
So the RFP to be awarded involves a company that my brother owns and operates. So I will be recusing myself from this vote and filling out the proper paperwork and filing that with the state.
Thank you, Ms. Gilhausen. We have 28 cards.
And they're
And-
all for the RFP?
All are for D4.
Okay.
And it's my understanding that I heard, just by a show of hands, just a comment, it truly helps to see hands instead of hearing applause, because we can then visualize how many people actually do want to speak. How many of you still want to speak to this,
Assuming that it is going to pass.
assuming that it is going to pass? Okay,
So about 20.
that's about 20. So shall we continue with hang on. Mr.
sorry?
Bickner, for procedural purposes?
Okay, if I were going to do it procedurally, I think that you can take it out of order. What I would do is, rather than do all the other things before the discussion agenda, I would move the consent agenda and pass that, and then move to D4. And then take the rest of the discussion agenda and then go back to those other things. But I would get the consent agenda out of the way, because otherwise, it may end up later that people are deciding, for some reason, to pull stuff. And it would be better just to get that one done.
I understand. Are we all in favor of doing that operation at this
that
time?
work? Okay?
I'll entertain a
Yes.
motion to pass the consent agenda.
So moved.
Move.
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Bullock has moved to adopt the consent agenda. Ms. Gilhausen has seconded to adopt the consent agenda. I'm just looking at Ms. Honora to make certain that we're together on this. Technical difficulties, that's okay. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda has been passed, has been adopted. There was one item I should mention that was pulled from the consent agenda regarding elementary school R. And there was one item, C17, which was withdrawn. And Ms. Honora, would you just vote for all of us, please? So we can move on? Okay, good. So now, we have a number of people who would like to speak. I'm just going to say the first three names. You know the routine, the first speaker, next guy's on deck, whatever. Anyway, all right. Martin Aftuck. Reminder, couple of reminders. You have 3 minutes in which to speak. You'll see lights on the podium that tell you when you're getting close to 1 minute left, etc. In addition, we know that you're obviously all in favor of, I'm assuming all of you are in favor of this. Instead of applauding and taking the time from the agenda, if you would just show ASL the way, show us if you're in favor of something or not. And students, critical. If you are speaking, do not share your address. We just ask adults to share their address. It'll go Martin Aftuck, Jay Stillano, and Christina Thompson. You're up.
I like this 3-minute timer thing. All right, I had a beautiful speech prepared about mole crickets, about a minute and 30 seconds about mole crickets, but we're not going to have to talk about that. I do want to take a moment to thank, and you can see the power of extracurricular activities in this room right now. So thank you to all the athletes that came, and thank you to all the parents, coaches, everyone. We appreciate it, and thank you, board. Thank you.
Christina Thompson and Brooke Swenson. Might want to stay close, Mr. Pasa.
Jay Solano, 3750 County Road 220. Like Mr. Aftuck, I too had, pages upon pages. But when asked, do you still want something to say, have something to say? Yes. Because I feel like it's important in life and anything we do, whether we're educating kids, whether we're coaching them, to know the why. So why is it important? Besides just the safety, besides just the pride of Clay County. I mean, you guys are up here, these people in here, because it's Clay County. It's what we do. We're prideful people. There's a reason why we live here, right? So that being said, I was a skeptic. I did not hire AgPro when I became an AD. When the county decided to give $5,000, I said, why can't we do this, this, and this? Why do we have to do this maintenance? When I got with my outside guy and he was pushing me, I was like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And the fields slowly started going away. And I was told, hey, it's rain. Hey, it's water. Hey, it's the sprinkler system. I didn't know. I had no clue what it was. Finally, I gave in because our fields looked terrible, beyond bad. This guy named Kyle came out and said, hey, bud, you got army worms. I said, what are army worms? Maybe you know what army worms are. I had no idea. No one taught me that. There was no manual. All right. So when we go and start looking, he comes out and spreads and says, Jay, I'm going to tell you this. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And he didn't lie. He said, what you're seeing is green, but it's not grass. That's weeds. All right. And when it was all said and done, once you got it going, all right, it was way better. All right. Our fields are some of the best around. Coming over the Middleburg, they're some of the best around. And so some of the things I would like to say is this. I had no clue. All right. Why do we use real mowers? So the grass runs sideways. They don't run up to make it thicker. I had no idea. How do you tell if you have army worms? When you see a bunch of crows in the lights, when you see them all over the field, there's army worms. When you walk the field and there's little moths flowing up, there's army worms. I had no idea. When you want to grow rye, all right, how do you do the sprinkler system? You don't make it run for 45 minutes. You do it for 5. Why are you telling us this silly stuff? Because I had no idea. People just see grass and they see fields and you can just take a zero turn and fix it. You can't. It don't work like that. It absolutely don't work like that. And this guy is Clay County. One of the guys that I know it maybe seemed somewhat weird, but he's Clay County. That guy taught me how to ride a tractor. Nobody in Clay County did. That guy did. On a Sunday, he came out. That guy showed me when that there was an error on the sprinkler. Not the county. He did. He came out and was like, hey, man, it looks like you got a splice wire. On a Saturday, by the way. That guy did so many things for me in our school. Let us borrow his tractors, did all those things. That's why. That's the why. I think that's the why these people were here. It's not just the simple fact that, hey, it's safety. Hey, it's the pride of Clay County. but it's also the right thing to do, not just for our kids, but for everybody. And again, I'm so glad to hear, and makes me thankful, again, reassures the fact that we live in probably the greatest county around, the fact that you guys are supporting it. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Christina Thompson, Brooke Swenson.
Good evening, Superintendent Broski and esteemed members of the school board. I want to first start by saying thank you for the public proclamation. It sounds like this is going to move through like we all wanted it to. But I do owe it to my students and the school that I represent to plead our passions. And I think that my sentiments will only further show that I expected this tonight. Tonight, I will be one of many asking you to award the RFP for continued maintenance services of the Clay County athletic fields. I believe that each of you have been elected by your respective districts because your constituents know you always put our students first. I'm sure you would each agree that your seat is not an easy one to hold and that you often have to make decisions based off of pros and cons. In some cases, expenditures are often a large deterrent in decision-making process. But after review of the athletic field maintenance cost sheet in comparison to the Clay County District School's final budget, I found that servicing 52 fields accounts for only 0.0019 of the final budget, and this accounts for the contribution of school internal funds as well. We have all heard the phrase, you reap what you sow. For 0.00019 of the budget, we can reap so many benefits. Safer fields for all of our students, not just athletes, more off the plate of our ADs who already commit to more than what is in their job description, beautification of Clay County campuses where athletic fields are often the first thing people see, and the continued pride that our students, staff, and fans hold for all of our campuses. These fields are often the locations of life lessons and lasting memories, all of which benefit the social emotional well-being of our students. Again, we are not asking for more, just the continued services. I have no doubt that you will hear the testimonies this evening urging you to continue this service, and I believe in my heart that each of you will vote yes. 1, because it's the right thing to do, and 2, because you each put our kids first every day. Please vote yes for the continued use of these services. Let's continue to take pride in our facilities, keep our students safe, and provide fields where lifelong memories are made. Thank you for your time.
Brooke Swenson,
I do know it's passing, right?
and Rob Thompson following.
Sorry, I'm a little short. Hello, my name is Brooke Swenson. I stand here today as a student, an athlete, and a representative of Middleburg High School and Clay County. With that being said, I believe the outcome of this decision tonight will greatly affect the safety and atmosphere of our schools. We will lose so many athletic opportunities when our fields are not properly maintained. We're here in this room showing you that all rivalries come to a standstill when our gameplay is in jeopardy. Thank you for your time, and thank you for allowing me to represent my school.
Rob, followed by Isabella Shadegg. Thank you.
All right, you ladies silenced me tonight. I had a big, long speech, but I'm glad it worked out, and I'm telling you right now, to each and every one of you, thank you very much. All of you out here, thank you for coming out here tonight. Strong showing, and it shows the strength of athletics and sports and the lessons that we learn from that, and I very much appreciate that. I see Mr. Hutchings in the audience, and thank you for everything that you have done, and I'm glad this thing has worked out. Our fields are the face of our schools very often when people come to us. It's what we take pride in, and the job that Kyle and the company over there at Oak Leaf, we couldn't ask for a better job. And the tremendous amount of work that coaches put in to help maintain these fields, I would think that you would want to reward them by taking care of these fields. I'm going to close again with thank you, thank you, thank you. I know I was quite vocal in this, but it's because I care about these kids, I care about the schools. And the last thing that I would say is, so that we never get to this again, two things I would suggest is that we have very open dialogue. I don't have a problem with somebody taking a stance against me. I respect that. I absolutely respect that. But let's talk about it, and hopefully we can come to a consensus. The other thing that I would say for this board, it didn't turn out this way, but we thought that it could, where we were going to end up in a tie. I don't think you should ever happen to that. Maybe you should revisit that charter and find a way to have a deciding vote and never have a tie. Thank you.
Thank you. Isabella and Jared Moses.
We don't have a charter.
First, I just want to say thank you for the decision that you're going to be making. It's a big deal for a lot of the athletes that we have here, as well as the athletic directors and coaches. As an athlete who's been playing sports for more than 4 years and a senior, the conditions of our field are very important. I'm here to speak not on behalf of the students now, but for the future generations that will be walking on these fields for graduation and for the future athletes playing on these fields. This problem goes beyond athletics. Our fields are not just used for athletics, but for pep rallies, ROTC, band, PE kids. It's a big part of our everyday activities. So I just want to say thank you again and for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Jared, and then Chris Gallagher.
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak tonight to the board. Again, like Mr. Stillman has already alluded to, I just felt like out of respect for that gentleman in the back of the room. I'm a first-year AD. I've been at Clay High School 18 years, so I'm not new to the school. I might be new to the job, but I learned a lot from great people in this room. Field maintenance was not on my radar because I knew it was already in place. It was already taken care of. In fact, Kyle reached out to me first and said, hey, man, this is the deal. I got it covered. You don't have to worry about a thing. This is my schedule. I'll be there if you need something. And like Mr. Stillano, we walked the fields. He showed me things, showed me that we had some bad wires on sprinkler systems, helped me fix it, told me the right people to go to. Like, he's second to none. And there's a reason why that we want to continue to use him. I appreciate you guys hopefully voting in favor of this RFP. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, and then Charles Dickinson.
Thank you very much, board members. Chris Gallagher, 1815 Century Oak Court. I want to thank you again for your support of Clay County Schools and our students, our athletes, and our extracurricular activities that take place on those fields, not only at the high school level, but at the middle school level and at the elementary school level. They truly are a community opportunity for all our students and a place where dreams are made. Again, you've heard it already. So many of us don't know how to treat grass, but turf grass professionals, they certainly do. They know about those worms that Mr. Stillano talked about. They know about sprinklers, and they know what problems can develop when we don't take care of that very, very special and expensive piece of property that we have that impacts a lot of students. So thank you again for your support and appreciate everything you do.
Thank you. Charles, followed by Gilda Kinsley, sorry.
Charles Dickinson, 5464 Christian Camp Road, Keystone Heights, Florida. I'd like to first thank the board, not only for what you've done in the past and what you're going to continue to do for our student athletes. So again, I appreciate you for that. Just first thing I'd like to say is I've been a part of this Clay County school system for over 47 years, either as a student, teacher, coach, and athletic director now. And I can tell you the transformation from 1970s to now is unbelievable with our fields. And my whole thing was scared that we would be going back to that way. And I was, in my heart, I thought that wouldn't happen. But again, I appreciate the board finally deciding to go ahead with this, and we appreciate that. And we know that you have our students and our athletes in your foremost thoughts. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Gilda Kinsey, and then Travis Cunningham.
My name is Gilda Kinsey. I live at 2123 Southeast 30th Street in Melrose. I'm a retired employee of the Clay County School District. I have a daughter who's a teacher and 3 granddaughters who attend the Clay County schools, 2 at the high school. Excuse me, 1 at McRae Elementary, who will be in the 7th grade next year at the high school. I do want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. All this wonderful notes that I wrote sound a whole lot like everybody else has talked about. But on a personal note, I had 16 years of firsthand knowledge, excuse me, given to me on the importance of maintaining the fields and the grounds at Keystone Heights High School because my husband, Bob Kinsey, was the groundskeeper from 1996 to 2012. When he retired from the corporate world and was offered this job, he would come home in the afternoon and he'd say, "Best job I ever had." And yes, I did learn something about mole crickets. I agree that there are, and we discussed that these fields were more than just fields. They were outside classrooms. He believed that the maintenance on these were seen as, number 1, a safety factor, and number 2, to have students be proud of their outdoor facilities. The supplies needed to make this happen are just as critical as the supplies to clean and maintain a building. We also had discussions that the name given to the football field was a little bit of a misnomer because it's not just for football. PE classes, soccer field, junior ROTC, practice drills for competitors, for their competition. The band had hosted, excuse me, other bands from different schools and on that field. Homecoming events are celebrated, and of course, the very important event of graduation. So I thank you so very much for approving and considering the funding that we keep our schools and our county fields in order. Thank you.
Travis and then Chelsea Roberts.
Hi, I'm Travis Cunningham. I live at 1244 Loquat Court in Green Cove Springs. Thank you all for everything you do, and thank you for your time and for the motion to start this meeting. I've been around the county a long time, not quite as long as Coach Dickinson, but went to elementary school here and all the way up through high school. I've been at Fleming Island since school opened, so I've seen the fields from year to year. And what we thought was a tough job became easy when AgriPro took over in 2012-13. So his services are vital to what we do, and appreciate what you guys have done at the beginning of this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Chelsea, followed by Cheyenne, Nash.
Good evening. Chelsea Roberts, 3606 Red Oak Circle West. I, like many of the others in this room, came tonight with a speech prepared, but upon the announcement that we would be voting in favor tonight, I still felt it was important to share. I represent the 650 marching band students that participate at the high schools, and then the 3,000 plus students that attend the 3 competitions we host at Ridgeview, Fleming, and Middleburg. So the fields and the condition of the fields are very important to us and the safety of our students. We have also experienced fields that are not maintained, and it's not a great time. So I just would like to thank you for your support of our students, and I can agree that we are all here with them in mind and hope that we can continue to move forward and progress with the support of our students. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Cheyenne Nash and Taylor Wilkinson.
Good evening. My name is Cheyenne Nash, and I am a senior at the Middleburg Band. And I have been in band for all 4 years, and as Ms. Roberts has said, we have attended fields that were not well maintained. I myself sustained injuries from this field, from marching on this field, and I very much appreciate the board for going through with this and continuing the maintenance so that others don't have to experience what I had my sophomore year. So we greatly appreciate it from the band, from all the athletic students, what you guys have done for us today.
Thank you. Taylor Wilkinson, Abigail Weigel.
Hello, my name is Taylor Wilkinson, and I too had a little speech about mole crickets, and not necessarily the worms, but I was going to speak on the bugs. And I just wanted to say thank you for allowing us to speak today and for telling us your decisions, because it does mean a lot to all of us, and I'm sure it shows with everyone who's here. And I just wanted to thank you for taking our well-being and our safety in consideration when you're making your votes today, because it doesn't go unnoticed. And I'm speaking on behalf of my friends and my family on my team, on my softball field. And I know without the work that they put in for our fields, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And with COVID taking away half of our season and then getting it back, it was a blessing to be back on our field. And the thought of it being taken away was truly heartbreaking. And it hit too close to home. So I just wanted to say thank you for allowing us to come up here and speak to you today and for taking our safety in consideration.
Thank you. Abigail and then Carrie Dix.
Good evening. My name is Abigail Weigel, and I am a junior at Middleburg High School. I am currently serving as the drum major for the marching band, and I am here to speak on the upcoming decision to provide funding for the athletic fields and maintenance services. When most people think back about their time in high school, the majority of them have fond memories of the times they spent cheering on their team, whether it was football, soccer, or track. For others, it can be the actual memory of playing on the team out there on the field or performing in the marching band during halftime and competing in band competitions. Other important events, such as also occur on our athletic fields. For instance, homecoming, graduation, and ROTC events. Whether we realize it or not, the school's athletic fields are a symbol of pride for our school. Every athlete, student, parent, or any other visitor feels an excitement inside when they walk in through those gates and look upon a well-maintained field and fans in the seats. It's a feeling that none of us can really describe. A well-maintained field not only offers something from a visual perspective, but it also serves a purpose for a safety perspective. An unmaintained field becomes a hazard for all those who play or perform on it. Any field that is not properly maintained in Florida will eventually grow weeds or begin to grow sand spurs, attract ants, or develop divots. They become unwelcome hazards for anyone out on the field and have the potential to result in injury. Nobody wants to be running down the field, marching in a performance, walking across for homecoming, or walking up to accept their diploma or roll their ankle because the county chose to not spend the money to maintain the field. The superintendent, as well as all the athletic directors, have voiced their opinion on the need to continue maintenance for the athletic fields. This has not been an issue in the past, so why stop it now? Additionally, Chapter 5 of the state requirements for the educational facilities from the Florida Department of Education requires counties to maintain their athletic fields. Mr. Broski pointed this out to the board during his last workshop meeting. Finally, why stop using Ag Pro? They've been maintaining the majority of our fields for Clay County schools for several years. Athletic directors say they've all done an outstanding job, and they haven't raised rates for several years, and their proposal is ultimately less than St. John's Turf Care. Please consider voting for the funding to maintain the athletic fields and maintain the current vendor providing service to the schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dix, followed by Marcus Miller.
Thank you. Carrie Dix, 873 Branscombe Road, Green Cove Springs. I can't thank you enough. I've heard war stories over the years from principals and former athletic directors that were spraying mole crickets at midnight. It happened. I didn't want to do that as principal or former athletic director as well. But when you have so much passion and you hear it from our students, whether they're in the band, ROTC, band members, our graduations. We take so much pride in our schools, and I can't thank you enough for that. That's it. Thank you.
Marcus, followed by Francis Garris.
Marcus Miller, 991 Steeplechase. Thank you for everything you do. And I sent all of you a fairly long email with pictures that you've already seen, so I'll keep this short. As a coach and an athletic director, we take great pride in our facilities and maintaining those not only aesthetically, but for safe playing surfaces for our kids. So thank you very much for your vote for yes.
Francis, and then Caleb Moncrief.
Thank you for your time and your vote today. I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit of the information that we have from our situation. Obviously, Coach Miller shared with you the photos of our field. Myself, as the head football coach at Oakleaf, and our administration, we've dedicated a lot of time and resources to trying to improve our athletic field situation there. Just some food for thought. Injury prevention was the biggest thing from our standpoint. In my first 2 seasons in 18 and 19, we had 7 non-contact injuries that were major. Coach Miller was one of them. He was in a boot for a month. And when we say non-contact, it means someone is walking around by themselves and gets injured, or somebody is running on a playable field and got injured. So from that standpoint, we use both of these companies. We have resurfaced the existing practice field, and we also constructed a new practice field as well to try to provide the best service for our athletes and the best surface for our athletes. I remember a couple years ago, Mr. Wingate received an open records request on helmets and helmet safety, and when was the certification done and all those. I could see the same thing coming for the athletic fields that we're on too, because a lot of times if your head hits a well-maintained soft surface, that risk goes down. If we're putting them at risk by having poor field conditions, we're only going to increase the multiple forms of injuries that can happen. Like it's been touched on, obviously, there's not just athletic teams that are using our fields. There is physical education, band, ROTC. We have the Aeronautics Academy at Oakleaf. Every once in a while, I look out on the practice field and get upset when we're launching rockets. But they use the practice field as well. But the last thing I wanted to see happen from this standpoint was any undue harm or any irreparable harm be done to our student athletes, and I greatly appreciate that you guys are all moving in the correct direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Caleb, and then Deanne Shaw.
Good evening. First off, I would just like to thank all the board for their votes today. I came here with the intent of representing my entire school of the students that couldn't be here tonight, not just the athletes, but the band, RTC, everyone who is in physical education classes, and everyone who graduates. But as we see, their voices must have already been heard, so I'd just like to thank all of you for your votes.
And I might add a congratulations to Caleb. He's the Athlete of the Month from Keystone. And also the video. If you haven't seen the video of his weightlifting was great, but the response for the teammates was priceless.
Thank you.
Very good.
Deanne and Amaya. Deanne? Deanne Shaw, okay. If Deanne Shaw is in the other room. Okay. Amaya Heflin. And if Deanne comes in, we will segue her in. Very good.
Hi, I'm Maya Heflin, and I came here under the impression that this entire like maintenance and like treatment was under fire. So I was coming to represent the Clay High School Blue Devil Brigade. So during marching, oh my God,
it's okay. We're all there with you.
Yes, you don't need to be nervous.
we just wanted to make sure that our environment is maintained, not just the school itself, but the field was often overlooked and underestimated, and we wanted to make sure that it was safe for not only the athletes, but for the band and the ROTC, for the other kids who use it. And it is kind of a sort of like pride thing, just because whenever we go to away games and we see the conditions of other fields and they're poorly maintained, others see it as an embarrassment and or are ashamed of it. So we just want something to be proud of. And, as a county, I'm sure we can all agree that that's something that we can all come together and support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And thank you for wearing your uniform. Very cool. All of you. Thomas Pittman, followed by Patrick Murphy.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. 1750 Brittany Court, Fleming Island resident. Not only am I a resident, I'm a proud Clay County. So I work here at the school, but I also have lived here for 42 out of the last 50. I'm 51 years old, so 42 out of the year. I've been, I went to school at Grove Park Elementary, Orange Park Elementary, Orange Park Middle School, graduated from Orange Park High School. Thought I was leaving Clay County after college. Nope, got sucked back in, worked at Lakeside Junior High, Orange Park High School, Oak Leaf High School, Fleming Island High School. So Clay County is my life. And I'm proud that my family is, grew up here. My kids have gone to school here. They played sports, but it's also just for, not just the school, but as athletes. It's for band, ROTC, so thank you so much for the support you've given us here. And just, I've been to numerous fields, as everybody. I had a huge, long speech, all of my cards right here, but I don't have to do it. But Northeast Florida, Clay County is a great community, and it has great fields.
Mr. Pittman, we'll settle for a headstand.
He's 51. Give him a break.
So,
Maybe you could be the principal athlete of the month.
On behalf of Miss Isaias, please don't.
I can do that, though. We've done that at a board meeting before. So.
Yes, you have.
But we just take pride in Clay County. We've had some great fields, so I could go on and on and on. Thank you to all of you guys for showing up. This means so much, as I played on these fields, growing up, from elementary all the way through high school. So thank you for your time, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Pittman. Patrick Murphy, followed by Becky Murphy.
Patrick Murphy, 2852 Ravines Road. I've attended several school board meetings over the past 15 years I've lived in Clay County. This is the first time I've ever felt the need to come up here and speak. Having served on several public boards, I understand the issues that can be involved, and I do like to be educated on an issue before I speak. So I watched the school board meetings leading up to this decision. At first, it appeared there were some misunderstandings of the scope of services and some of the wording in the RFP. So it was proposed to be tabled, but instead was postponed 1 month to January. Now here we are in March, and I'm assuming that all of these problems have been worked out internally with staff. Yet you still have a misunderstanding that's brought this many people and myself to speak to you. I found that odd. So that begs me to ask some questions. My questions are, why have we gotten to this point? And I want the people who are watching, who are still interested, why are we all here? Why are we not doing what's right for the kids, based on the merits of the decisions? I want everyone here to ask those questions and hopefully come to some decisions. I want those watching to ask why we even had to do this. Thank you for your service, and thank you for the decisions y'all are making tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Becky Murphy, followed by Christopher Sinsel. Hope I said that right, sorry.
Good evening. My name is Becky Murphy. I'm principal of Ridgeview High School, and you guys have my address on file. I'd like to first thank you for your service and what you do for our schools. I know you often have a thankless job, and it's never fun when you have to kind of hear some of the negative. I do thank you again for voting yes on this RFP tonight. As an educator with 21 years in Clay County, I've worked for many great leaders, two of those being Ed Pock and Sam Ward. And one of the greatest lessons those two men taught me is that every decision we make should be about the students, what's best for our students and what's best for our schools. And field maintenance from the beginning, that I'm not even sure where their question was of how that could not be best for our students. It meets that requirement. We value the safety of our student athletes, our band members, our NJROTC cadets, our Special Olympians, which Ridgeview has many who participate, and we host those Special Olympics each year. And then visiting schools from surrounding counties and around the state, their athletes come and use our fields as well. And so we value providing all of those stakeholders with a quality place to learn and to play. And so I do want to thank you for ensuring that our students are first and for voting tonight and showing us that what we all care about so much, you care about as well. I also, I'd be remiss as a principal if I didn't thank all these students for showing up tonight and thank those who spoke, because I can imagine that they were very nervous up here and they've represented themselves so well, and they should be so proud how they've expressed that passion for their fields, because those of you who are here tonight, your principals, your coaches, your parents, they are so proud of you. So thank you for coming tonight as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Christopher Sinsel, Daniel Pierce.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I am a proud father of 4 children that have either went through Clay County schools or are currently going through there. I also have had the opportunity to coach here at the high school level in Clay County, and I've also helped paint the fields here in Clay County. And just like anything, when you paint, you need a good canvas. I've had the misfortune of painting some fields not associated with the school board that have been in poor shape. And I don't know if any of you have ever tried to paint on sand or dirt, but you're pretty much wasting your time. And you're wasting your money, whether you're paying that person or the paint, because the paint's going to be gone in about 2 seconds because of wind or somebody stepping on it. So I ask you for your support for that. Also, I agree with everybody that said everything tonight. Like I said, I coached, but I'm also a multi-sport official. So from that standpoint, I'm going to give you our perspective. We need those lines on those fields. And then, like I just said, if they're not there because it's dirt, mud, we're making judgment calls. If we don't have those lines, now we're having to make guessing calls. And these coaches out here are going to let me have it even more because I'm having to guess. So I don't want that. Also, I don't want any of these athletes to get hurt. I don't want any of my colleagues to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt because of poor field conditions. So I just ask for your support on this, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Pierce, followed by Carrie Pruitt.
First of all, I want to thank y'all for everything that y'all are doing tonight and making this right decision. I teach my kids about character and doing the right thing. And I for the 30-plus kids that I have in the other rooms and the countless ones that I've taught and came up here and have spoken tonight, I tell them, when's the right time to do the right thing? And it's always right now. Okay, and I thank you for what you did and to bring this up at the very beginning of the meeting and do what's right. I want to thank especially all the students, but everybody, but the students most importantly for what they've done to come up here and to articulate their words and express their concerns and all their thoughts and feelings tonight. It makes me proud as an educator and as a coach to see them come up here and really talk about everything and just to share what it means to be a part of this and to get their message across. So thank y'all very much, and I appreciate everything that y'all do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Carrie, followed by Corey Levine.
Carrie Pruitt, Middleburg High School. But I just wanted to thank you guys for the decision that you made. I've been in the school system for 36 years. I'm part of the community. I'm a teacher, I'm a coach. And, when I heard about all this stuff that's going on, it was a little bit disturbing. But one of the things and I'm so grateful that you guys made the decision that you made, because as you can see, this room is filled, but you guys, I don't know if you saw what's out there. Our community has come together today to make a stand and say, this is what's best for our kids. And that's the most important thing. And so, I love Clay County, and Clay County is a big part of so many of us. But today, I am prouder than I've been in a really long time about the people that are part of this community and the people that are sitting in the stands. So thank you for that vote, and continue making the kids number one.
Thank you. Corey Levine? Last call for Deanne Shaw. I don't believe Deanne. Thank you.
Hi there, my name's Corey Levine. I'm at 2200 Autumn Cove Circle in Fleming Island. I'm a product of the Clay County school system. I attended Thunderbolt Elementary School, Green Cove Junior High School, and graduated right here from Fleming Island High School. I've been a dedicated volunteer for Fleming Island High School for the past 5 years, and mainly in the athletic department. I have experience in the turf grass industry, so everybody that's talked about, all the things I love to hear, mole crickets and bugs and insecticides is something that I can relate to, and I'm grateful to be able to have a good friend of mine, Kyle Hutchings, take care of our field here at Fleming Island High School. I take pride in this field. Every Friday night when our community comes together, and being able to look down and say, wow, we were able to put that together is something that me and a lot of other people take a lot of pride in this county. Fleming Island High School won a Field of Excellence Award. That's a national award for how great our field looked and how safe it played throughout this 2020 season that we just had, and I'm very proud of that. Kyle Hutchings and AgroPro do a fantastic job. I have a lot of experience in the turf grass industry. I work for the Jacksonville Jaguars turf staff, as well as the UNF Division I turf staff as well. Anytime I need help, Kyle's always a phone call away. He's a great person. He owns a great company, and I'm thankful for you guys' decision to continue being able to use him in our county. Thank you.
Thank you. There are no further comment cards that we received at this time. And in fact, I never did call for the final call for comment cards, but that's okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for the RFP to be awarded.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we move to approve D4.
I'll second it.
It's been moved by Ms. Clark and seconded by Ms. Kirkus. And we'll move on to our discussion.
Well, I would just like to ask that.
Speak into your microphone, please.
Oh, that's right, it's so far away,
Thank you.
sorry. Well, like I said earlier, this board puts our children first always. And I'd like to think that every vote we take is with the children, their best interest, first and foremost. And this company, there are two companies that are on here, have been used. I'll be honest with you, this had never come to us before, and I didn't realize we'd been contracting for so many years for lawn maintenance. We're still under the impression that our ADs were doing all of this. But I don't want any interruption in the services, which is why I said that I would, certainly support this. But I would like us to just look at if there was a possibility to maybe readdress this. I know it comes back to us next year, but maybe look at, is there a way that we can do this in-house, or, just address it and see the dollar amounts and work it out. If it seems that this is more economical, then we continue with this company and what we're doing. But it's not our personal checkbook, it's the county, it's the districts and the children. And so we just have to be mindful of every penny we spend. And I worry about outsourcing things. I mean, we have a couple other examples of things we've outsourced that you brought up about the substitute teachers, the custodians down at the district office, the other lawn maintenance company. We're outsourcing stuff. So I would just like that to be on our radar. That's all I have.
And I too, I had questions, but just because the board has questions doesn't mean they're against something. We want clarification too, just like Ms. Carrick said, weren't even aware of the companies that were doing this, and they've been doing it for a long time, which it sounds like they've been doing a great job, and I talked to the AD at Keystone High School, and he told me the same thing, they were doing a great job. And trust me, I love athletics more than anybody. I personally wrote a grant through our Kiwanis Club for a $500 donation toward the batting cage in Keystone. I've worked the concession stand. Chuck Dickinson contacts me when he needs sign-ups for concession stand for my Kiwanis Club, and my husband's name hangs in the field house, or I'm assuming it's there. I don't make a regular visit there, but so trust me, nobody loves athletics more than I do. So, but when we ask questions, it's because we feel like we need to have the right answers. So, but I appreciate everybody coming out, and thank you very much.
Ms. Clark, any comment? I just want to say thank you as well. I think when Ms. Karakis is saying next year, I saw a lot of eyes rolling out there, by the way. And I know that the reality of how important this is to our children really came home in the last week since our workshop. And I personally want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight, particularly the students. You got it. You got it. Give yourself, you know what, give yourselves a hand. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And I'm not going to go on too far because you guys brought some emotions that were truly, truly heartfelt. And I can't thank you enough for being here tonight because it truly brought it home. And we will do whatever we can to keep you safe, to allow you to play, whether it's a musical instrument or a game or whatever we can. And watching all of you is one of the greatest joys that we all have. So thank you for all that you do.
So, Ms. Bowler, let's take a vote so we can let these people get on their way.
Excuse me, Ms.
Especially
Karakis,
the
I was just
Keystone who
about
have
to
to
do
go
so.
all the way back.
Allow me to finish, please. Thank you. We've got a motion by Ms. Clark and a second by Ms. Karakis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? I heard that from the next room. Thank you very much. Go ahead. Those of you who want to stay for this wonderful meeting, you are allowed to do so. If you would like to leave, have a great weekend and please be safe going home. While they are moving, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Thank you for your patience, those of you who we had to bump in the schedule. Thank you. 5 minutes, we'll be back at 7:23. continue our meeting, shall we? Ms. Tito, I think I introduced you earlier. Shall we try this again? Heather Tito, Chief of Elementary Education, about to introduce a very, very special person.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me tonight. I'm very honored to stand before you, Mr. Broski, as well as the board members, to celebrate one of our outstanding teachers here in Clay County District Schools. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to pick up a Clay today. However, we have a beautiful teacher that has been showcased. I wanted to share a little bit about our friend in the audience, but we're celebrating the Presidential Award of Excellence in Science and Mathematics Teaching. The Presidential Award for Science, Excellence in Science and Mathematics Teaching has been rewarding great teaching since 1983. Every year, the state of Florida selects 6 state finalists to represent the state, 3 science teachers and 3 mathematics teachers. This year, one of the state science finalists comes right here from our beautiful Clay County. State finalists move on to compete against teachers from other states at the national level. The winner of this award will receive a certificate signed by the President of the United States, a paid trip to Washington, D.C. for recognition events, and a $10,000 award. Let's hope that hell happens, right? For their contributions to the field of science or mathematics teachings. I would like to introduce my outstanding teacher here, Ms. Shadrika Smith. Miss Shadrika Smith, see, we practiced, and I was ready an hour ago, but Miss Shadrika Smith is a 4th, 5th, and 6th grade teacher at Discovery Oaks Elementary School. She is a graduate of Ridgeview High School. I am super excited about that, and she has also served in the Navy. Ms. Smith believes that making learning fun and positive relationships is key to student success, and she even leads her students in a daily chant to set the stage for learning every day. Do you want to do that today? Just teasing, just playing. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present again Ms. Shadrika Smith with the Certificate of Recognition for the School District of Clay County District Schools, and congratulate her on her selection of being a state finalist. We are extremely, extremely proud of you and so thankful for people like you that are a beacon of light for our scholars. So thank you.
Absolutely.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to take your picture. And we should hear sometime in the next few months to see, hopefully we will see Miss Smith's name in lights. So congratulations.
That is exceptional. Thank you again and again for choosing to teach in Clay County. And as a Ridgeview High graduate, that's even more awesome. Woohoo! April School Media Month video presentation is going to be presented by Susan Gannon, our district media specialist. Thank you for being here, Ms. Gannon.
Good evening. I am Susie Gannon, District Library Media for Clay County. I'm proud to share with you our Clay County Library Media Program and all the amazing things that it does for our students. The Clay County School Media Library Media Program plays a vibrant role in the academic and social emotional lives of our students through sponsorship of the Sunshine State Young Readers Award, Jim Harbin Media Festival, and Literacy Week. School libraries provide more than just books or access to technology and information. They are safe haven for our students to explore the world around them in order to think, create, share, and grow. Our school libraries are the hubs of learning with the ultimate goal of creating lifelong readers. Our students can share what our libraries do best and have created a special video to proclaim April as School Library Month.
Our libraries are the hubs of our school. Let's proclaim April as School Library Month in Clay County because we love our libraries.
Clay County school libraries promote literacy and the enjoyment of reading and are important assets in the education of Florida's youth. Students can visit the library and find all kinds of favorite books that help us love reading and learn about the world around us.
Clay County school libraries significantly contribute to student achievement by providing instructional support, resources, and services. Students and teachers can visit the library to find more information about the things we're learning about in our classrooms.
Clay County school libraries provide access to information in a variety of formats within the school, as well as digital resources outside the school. Of course, we can check out books in the library, but we can also use our Chromebooks to check out ebooks, use Tumble books, listen to music with sounds abound, search databases for research, and so much more.
Clay County school libraries teach students to become effective users of information and ideas as Florida's youth prepare for their futures. There is so much information in the library and on the internet, and our libraries teach us how to find the best information.
Clay County schools and libraries promote new and emerging technologies as integral parts of school library programs. The library makerspace allows students to explore and create new ideas and thoughts of our own. We work together to solve problems using Breakout EDU. So fun.
Clay County school libraries are instructional partners and consultants in the teaching and learning process. Our media specialists collaborate with our teachers and administrators to support what we are learning in the classroom. Working together helps me achieve.
Thank you to our librarians for all they do each day to support not only what we do in the classroom, but also instilling the love of reading so we become lifelong readers and learners.
Thank you, and I'd like to give a special shout out to Lake Asbury Junior and Discovery Oaks Elementary for helping in creating that video for us. Thank you for all you do to support us.
That's awesome. Great. Thank you. And there were some ideas up there that I kept thinking, oh, a blind date with a book. What a great idea. Very cool. Thank you so much. We've already adopted the consent agenda, but I wanted to make a note that once again, we have made numerous proclamations in our consent agenda. And it seems odd that we're doing this now, but this is the 1st of April. We have only 8 weeks left of school. And I am so excited that Teacher Appreciation Week will be coming up May 3rd through 8th. That was proclamation number 2111. Number 2112 is Administrative Professionals Week from April 19th to the 23rd. Proclamation number 2113, School Library Month, April 2021. And number 2114, National School Nurse Week, which is May 6th through 12th. Last but not least, and a very important one for many of the children in our community, number 2115, Month of the Military Child. Purple Up Day will be April 21st, and we expect everyone to wear purple that day. So get your purple tie out, Mr. Brodsky, and be ready for that. Our CCA update, Ms. Kidwell. Thank you for your patience, Ms. Kidwell. I know it's been a long one, but we appreciate you.
Up to next time.
Good evening. I think it's on. I appreciate you guys. I really do. I have never been so proud of, oh my goodness, that's why we do this, right? Right. They found their voices. They spoke up with passion, eloquence. It was wonderful. I have nothing to add to that, except it's the beginning of a great weekend. I hope you all have family that you get to see, time to rest and relax and reflect, and that blessings shower down upon you. We only have a little bit of time left, and I'm so excited. It's been a very long year. All right, good night.
Thank you, Ms. Kidwell. Lonnie Roberts, our CESPA representative. Mr. Fassa, as always, is doing a great job cleaning up.
Yes.
We appreciate you, Mr. Fassa.
Good evening to all. I'm glad everybody had a good spring break. I didn't. I worked. Easter is coming. Hopefully everybody is ready for that. Go looking for some eggs. I'm also glad that we passed that, the adoption for the RFP. A lot of people were talking about it. I had to go look it up, but doing the fields were a good thing. Now, I have a second subject, and that is the grass cutting of the schools themselves. The custodians themselves at the schools, they were cutting the grass, and they were doing a good job. What we did was, or I didn't do, but what the school did, you guys, is to put all of the custodians back into the classroom or into the buildings. That will free up another custodian inside the buildings. Then we went out and we hired a grass cutting service. In my opinion, this grass cutting service needs to go. Over some time, I've seen grass grow as high as my knees at Green Cove Junior, Fleming Island High. We talk about our athletic fields. We talk about the safety of the children, and we talk about our pride of looking good throughout the whole district on our grounds. Let's take a look at some of our grounds themselves in front of the schools, because as you drive by Fleming Island High, which is a big school and a newer school, you're like, what's going on there? You drive by Green Cove Junior. I have to drive through there, go to Clay High, and everything going south. You wonder what's going on there. If I wasn't a worker here, then I would say, hey, something is in distress. So the rest of the schools, we just need to go ahead and get them manicured like our own people. I always said, you're never going to get a better service than the people that you employ. At a drop of a dime, we can be anywhere in the county. Our pest control person, we only got one. Only one for the whole district. But I tell you, if you got a rodent in your ceiling somewhere, he's going to be there. If you had hired, hey, it's happening, you're laughing. But if you have a problem anyplace else, if it's a minor thing, we drop what we do and we go take care of the emergencies. If you hired somebody else out there and you say that, I need this right here, right now, the people that you hire is going to be there. They take pride in their jobs. And now that we have grass people to cut grass now, and our people are not doing it, I don't see that pride in doing it. Edging is not being done. I know the contract, they're only supposed to edge so many times, but our people would sit there and edge every single week. Every week, edging, cutting, pruning is what our people do. To continue to go ahead and have this people, the contractors that come in, is another dig at the support employees, another way to gut the employees from their jobs. And every time I turn around, it's always, let's go out for a bid, let's go out for a contract, let's go ahead and just contract this out, contract that out. Why don't we just go ahead and just hire people? The way we've been doing it for so long is got to change. Our salary structure has to change. Get people in here, we got to get a better salary structure. And there's only one way to do that, and that's to go ahead and tackle it head on and just not sit there and kicking the can down the road every single year. Yes, we were happy with what you gave us last year, but needs to be more. I know the $15 minimum is coming, but we need to be way ahead of that before it even gets here. And the only way to do that is to go ahead and get it, get people hired, get people to, our experienced people in this county in maintenance is leaving. All of the experience is leaving. People who know how to go out there, troubleshoot and say, oh, this was electrical is gone. This is what our electronic, our fire alarms, all of that stuff is leaving. Plumbing, all of our knowledgeable people from back in the day, they're leaving. And we need to get more experienced people in this district. That's the only way we want to have quality service for the district, make our district look good, and have service like we used to have here in the district. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Lonnie.
Thank you, Lonnie. Appreciate that. We're moving into our discussion items. Discussion item D1, Human Resources Special Action A. Do I hear, I would like to entertain a motion, excuse me.
Move approval?
Ms. Gilhousen move for approval. Is there a second? Ms. Clark? Ms. Clark seconded? Sorry, I didn't hear you. Just wanted to make sure. There's been a motion by Ms. Gilhousen and a second. Any discussion?
I have discussion on this one. This really deserved, I've lost my train of thought. This really was very upsetting to me when I read this, because what this, and without saying the name, I'm going to say what this is about. What this was about is COVID leave. And as a board, I think it was December, we extended COVID leave through probably the remainder of the year, I guess it was, because the state had suspended it, or it ran out the, what was the bill that ran out? December 31st. So we went ahead and extended it, and an employee put in leave for COVID, fraudulent paperwork, lying to the district, and as far as I'm concerned, that's stealing from the district. And I realize 10 days of unpaid suspension is the punishment. This person took the 8 days COVID leave, did not get paid for it, and now this punishment. And this doesn't sit right with me. I mean, if you're going to steal from your employer, you don't deserve to be employed. And so I saw this and I said, this is wrong. We can't do this. So I'm not sure that I'm in favor of just this suspension, and that it shouldn't be something more severe. And so I know we don't talk about the name, which is a courtesy that we do because there's no law that said we can't. But how does the board feel about this?
Well, it's
Before-
fraudulent for one thing, and.
Well, before the board talks about this, a couple things that I would point out to you. One, when you go through a process like this, due process for the employee has already occurred, and that information has been given to the employee. All of the letters that are part of the backup for the board are given. So the changing of a consequence at this point presents as problematic.
Does, okay. Well, this is horrible. I just cannot believe somebody put in fraudulent paperwork, lying to the district, which, like I said,
Agreed.
that's stealing from the Clay County School District. So
Absolutely. Ms. Gilhousen?
I was just going to say, I think it's just important that we're very careful when we have HR issues to make sure that it's handled by the HR department and that the school board support the HR department's work, because these situations can become litigious really quickly.
Ms. Bullock, did you have a comment?
No, I was just going to say, I concur that I think, when somebody takes advantage of the district, and it was forgery and it was fraud, it was a lot of things wrapped into that. So, but
I think we all agree with that.
terrible. Terrible.
Any other discussion?
No, that's it.
The motion's been made by Ms. Gilhousen and second by Ms. Clark to approve the Human Resource Special Action A. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. There is no special action B. I'll now open the public hearing to approve as advertised the adoption of the 2021-22. It says 21 to 21. Should that be 21 to 20? the adoption of the 2020-2021 English Language Arts materials. All in favor signify, oh, I'm sorry, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it and the motion carries. We've had a number of public hearings lately. I feel pretty confident about those now. All right. We have already accomplished D4. Very good. And there was one consent agenda item pulled by Ms. Bullock, C25 Elementary School Architecture Contract Award. Ms. Bullock, do you have a comment about this?
I do, thank you. I pulled this item for discussion.
We need a
I
motion
was
and a
just going to
second
say,
first.
before, yeah. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move approval.
Ms. Gilhousen has moved approval.
I'll second it.
Ms. Clark has seconded. Now, discussion. Ms. Bullock.
Okay.
Thank you.
I pulled this item because I would like to table this item back to next month. And before that meeting, I would like to have a workshop to discuss major constructions of new schools and establish the priorities for those schools in the Ed First plan. I'd like to hand this out. If you can pass that to through there. Here. 2 to 5 years, and right above that says immediate need growth within 2 years. Well, immediate need to me means now. That's what immediate need means. And I feel like this was told to our Keystone community that they would be in line right up there with everybody else to get a new school. And I would like to have a workshop to discuss that, and that's what I'd like to do. Thank you.
Well, if you're asking to table it, to have a workshop, is the board in agreement with that? Do we need to, and it's only if the board's in agreement, but do you want to?
I think it's important that we move forward with this. I don't think approving this would hinder us having a workshop. I think we can still have a workshop, but go ahead and get the ball rolling. This school, even on your chart, Ms. Bullock, we have elementary school R in the 2-year range, and you have Keystone Heights in the 2 to 5 year range.
Correct, but I think we need, that was developed by the operations department, and I believe, but however, when it was presented to city council and all the different ones, they said they would be next. That was what was told.
I understand that, but I still am not comfortable withdrawing my motion because I think that we need to follow protocol here, and I'm fine with having a workshop to discuss it if you want to do that.
Mr. Brodsky?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one brief comment about that. If you recall, when we got into mid-December, we started talking about growth areas. And we kind of put that off till January. Then we had this big discussion, and we talked specifically about the high growth areas, which were Oakleaf High School, Tynes, and the third was
Lake Asbury.
Lake Asbury, right. And that's because those are the areas in which all the homes are going to be built. There'll be 8,200 in the Lake Asbury area for Saratoga Springs, 6,200 in Governor's Park, and the third area was the Oakleaf Middleburg area, which is 8,200 homes that are going to be, those are our 3 high growth areas. And when the board was, and I was very, very appreciative and very complimentary, because I know that rezoning and redistricting is not fun, and you guys did that, and a lot of compromise was made in those meetings. A lot of discussion among board members. Not everybody agreed with everything that was said in that meeting, and quite a bit of work went into it. Well, part of that was that the opening of School R would address the high growth areas that I just mentioned, plus we also had the issue of Patterson Elementary. And I think it was Ms. Karakis who came up with the astute idea that when we open up the new school R, that would address those issues.
Right.
That was the understanding coming out of that meeting, or at least that was my understanding coming out of that meeting. And so I believe that we should move forward with School R because don't forget, there's 18 months of construction, but actually the building process, there's more time in the lead up to building than there is in the actual building. And so I didn't know if the board remembered the purpose to School R or not. And that's all I wanted to say, I
I don't
guess.
think that's the issue. I think absolutely we have to move forward with that school, no doubt about it.
And I don't disagree with that.
I think the issue is that Keystone's overcrowded.
That's
And
right.
but Dr.
So-
Kemp had sold it to the community as, we're going to build a new elementary, and we're going to make that elementary a middle school. And we're going to take the sixth graders out of the elementary, which will alleviate the overcrowding. We're going to have 6, 7, 8, which helps with the Portable Reduction Act.
Right.
So that was the
I don't-
solution for Keystone.
Yeah, I don't have any comments about what Dr. Kemp may or may not have said, but I do know this. Part of the capacity issue, when you're dealing with capacity, has to do with the size of the cafeteria. That's how it's calculated. There's 4 schools in our district that are in the same boat, which are Doctors Inlet, Keystone Elementary, Middlebrook High School, and Charles E. Bennett. Well, the first school that was done and is complete is Doctors Inlet. That cafeteria expansion is done to address that. The second school is Keystone Elementary, and the construction and the design and the beginning of the construction is next year. They are next on the list in order to deal with the capacity issue there at Keystone. In addition, they're doing a feasibility study right now that'll take about 10 to 12 weeks in order to determine the reasonable and financial practical nature of a new building there on the property that Ms. Bullock was talking about. So I think the moving forward with this particular school needs to happen for all those reasons. Do I agree, and have I heard Ms. Bullock loud and clear about Keystone? Absolutely. I've heard loud and clear.
And I heard your passion about the athletic fields. I'd like to hear your passion about Keystone schools as well.
I'm absolutely passionate about the Keystone schools.
So
And,
what
and at the same time, there is no doubt, and the board has already taken action. It's already been approved through the educational facilities plan that School R is the school that needs to be built next. We've talked about rezoning, we've talked about high growth areas, and there's no doubt that School R is going to progress forward. My suggestion would be that we see the feasibility study first about the need for a new school in Keystone, and then make decisions based off of that. That would make sense to me. Now, the new School R has got to happen because we already went down that road. That was the whole purpose to that. And this particular item is only related to School R, which is what we're here to vote on today.
Well, is the board open to having a workshop to discuss all of this future capital improvements, major capital improvements such as 3 new schools instead of 2?
We've already approved a 5-year plan at this stage.
Right, we have
And
the
when I'm
authority to
looking-
change our 5-year plan anytime we'd like.
Yep, absolutely. And that's what we can continue to do that. When I'm looking at this particular page from the Ed First plan? This was designed with the passage of the tax, the 1 cent sales tax, or half-cent sales tax, excuse me. And we're saying within 2 years, we needed this growth. And we just put Patterson on hold. And if my numbers were right, I went back and I looked at what Mr. Fossa had presented to us. We could get up to 122% capacity in Patterson if we don't progress, if we don't start moving forward. 122% is like 200 some students. And right now, Keystone Heights Elementary is at 111%. And when you look at the percentages, absolutely, it looks huge.
Right.
That's 30 students in comparison to what you would be at 100% to 111%. And I'm thinking, whoa, 200 students is, not, I mean, that's a lot of people and a lot to ask of Patterson. And I'm looking at this saying, okay, we know these needs, the need for School R and the need for School A were immediate needs. We knew that, and we've seen that as the growth comes through. If you haven't driven through that area, I've been driving around to a variety of schools, and you can see literally the physicality of these buildings going up, and you know that there are going to be children in them going to these schools.
As
These
opposed to
are
Keystone that already has
immediate.
those children there.
There are plenty. There's growth all over this county.
But I mean, they already
And
have the students there, as opposed to they're coming.
And with the new cafeteria, that they will
But-
also
but there's
be
not
able to
space.
handle
That's the
that.
problem.
Well, and I'm not doubting that, but talking about the feasibility study, I was at Keystone today, and I thought about
was
this.
too.
Well, you go there all the time, yeah. But I was thinking about what you were saying about that particular property. And here again, in looking at Mr. Fassa's pictures that he gave us, the aerial view of that, it was, it came to mind immediately that whenever anything new is built, and I want to say the union office had this problem. They wanted to expand the building, and they couldn't expand the building unless there was a watershed of some sort, if I'm seeing nodding from Ms. Kidwell. And I was looking at that property, and there's no watershed anywhere. And the property truly does sort of go, I don't want to say downhill because there aren't that many hills in Florida, but it does sort of go downhill towards the neighborhood. And I thought, we do need that feasibility study, because if we put a concrete anything on that property, we're going to have to figure out where is the water going to go when it rains. And that's critical. I mean, I would be very willing to do a workshop. I would much rather wait until that feasibility study is done.
And
so that
we seem to
have-
be waiting a long time on that. I think you brought it up when?
2 months ago to Miss Ellis at an agenda review, and she was going to get with Mrs. Bullock so that when they came out and looked at the property, Mrs. Bullock wanted to be there. You haven't heard from anybody, though? No. So,
I'm sorry. Ms. Ellis, I understand that we have contacted a company.
Yes, we have a contract, we have a purchase order now with Casper Architects.
Okay.
They are, again, it's 10 to 12-week study. We're expecting a report in June for a final study of that. Again, this is a third-party opinion that we're asking for. I don't know what the rules would be. I'd have to refer to Mr. Bickner on if we're going to have a board member at this architectural meeting, do all the members have to be there? Can just one board member go to a meeting such as that? Or if it's a third-party meeting and we want to keep it as a good faith, fair dealing, how would we go about that?
As far as one board member being there, that's not a sunshine violation, and so there's no issue with that. If you have more than one board member there, you're going to have to advertise it, you're going to have to have public notice, you're going to have recording, you're going to have public speaking and input, because it becomes a public meeting. That's the problem that you have. If you don't do
More
all
than
of those things, then you do have a sunshine violation, and that was tried in Pinellas County 4 years ago, when they went around on a school bus sitting all over in separate seats just to look at various properties.
And that would
The
be
court
such
said
an
that's a
easy
public
idea.
meeting and sunshine violation, even though they didn't speak. So I think one person can attend. If all people attend, I think you have a problem.
Miss Ellis, have they come out and looked at the property yet?
They are scheduled to do that next week and the following week.
And that's what Ms.
And I
Bullock is
can-
asking. She would like to
Okay.
be on the grounds when they are walking and looking at the property to hear firsthand what's being said.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
And it's my understanding the Casper, is that correct?
Casper Architects.
Casper Architects, and I was, here again, I was thinking about this as I was driving around. I mean, we're talking about the historical perspective of some of those buildings. We're talking about St. John's River Management when we're talking about watershed. We're talking about surveying the property to know, I mean, there are numerous surveys going on for individual homes when they want to put up a fence, for instance. But surveying the property to make certain that what we want to put there is actually compatible with what we have. And then knowledge of the buildings that are already there, as well as what the needs are of the community. And that's, I mean, there's so many facets to that third-party person or that third-party group doing this feasibility study, to me, is just it's priceless. I mean, that gives us the meat that we need to be able to say, okay, can we even do this? I mean, Dr. Kemp doesn't have the expertise in all of those areas. And yes, he said, we want to give you a school. And it's like, well, that's wonderful. However, can we even do that?
I
mean,
think probably
he's
a
not
little more went
specialist
into
in
it
that.
than
It did.
we want
It
to
was.
give
And
I
it
them
was at
was,
those
I mean,
meetings.
but he's
Were you at
not the
those meetings, Ms. Bola?
specialist.
I was. You
Well,
were not, I know what he
I've been
said.
to other meetings as well, Ms. Bullock.
I'm just saying,
listened.
I was at those meetings when he said that to him, to
I
the city council.
understand that. And Dr. Kemp is now in a completely different county. So, I mean, that is, to me, going back to the topic, I believe that School R has to continue, the plan has to continue at this point.
And
And
nobody
if we
said it
look at a
didn't.
workshop at some point in the future, personally, I would like to wait until June or whenever for the feasibility study to be done so that it can be presented to the entire board at a workshop. Because I think it's important that we all hear it and that we all have that opportunity to hear it so that we all hear the same things and are able to discuss it then together.
I'm in agreement.
I think what Mrs. Bullock is asking for is for this board and the superintendent to commit to a timeline for building this school. And that's all she's asking for. She's not asking to, wait till after the feasibility. If the feasibility is done, report is done, and it says, hey, we can't use that property, although Dr. Kemp has already looked into it. The property's already located. It was on his Ed First presentation, his plan that was presented for the sales tax increase. So, Dr. Legutko is talking about wanting to go out on a bond for a lot of money. And she said the max we could go for is 50 million, and they're going to ask for 30 to do 2 schools, do the full amount, and plan all 3 schools, and have 3 schools going. Have the first one, elementary R, followed immediately by elementary A, followed by Keystone, whatever the number they're going to give it, or letter they're going to give it, within the 3 years. And it doesn't have to be done first. Mrs. Bullock is not asking for this to be the first school done. She didn't say that. She said she knows the need is there. She drives this community like everybody else, more than the rest of us, I'm sure. So that's what she's asking for. And I feel like this board is looking for every reason to say, we can't do it, we're not going to do it. Oh, the footprint.
I'm sorry, Ms. Karakas,
That's what it
you're
sounds
now
like.
putting words in our mouth. All I asked for was, can we please wait for the feasibility study to see what we can do? It's not my understanding that Dr. Kemp spent whatever money to get an outside survey of what our property is and what we can do on that property and meet all the criteria for doing a building. All I'm asking is that we get the feasibility study so that we can make an educated decision. I'm sorry, I don't trust what Dr. Kemp said. He's not here to support this right now. And I could call him and say, hey, did you say, but the bottom line is I have to make that decision.
No, we all have to make that decision, not you by yourself. Thank you.
I have to make the decision for my position in this chair.
That's correct, but not for
Each
the
of
5
us,
of us. So that's
each of
right.
us has to make that decision. You're absolutely right. But I don't feel comfortable making that decision until I have the facts in front of me. And it has nothing to do with how old the school is. If we need to redo a school, I'm going to say, you know what? Orange Park Elementary is the oldest school in this county, and by God, they're the best school and one of the best schools in the state. They are considered a historic landmark, and they have to close a street so that students can walk across the street to classrooms.
Keystone uses a
that are,
public road to have their buses on.
Well,
It just, the difficulty that I'm having here is, since I've been on the board, I've never had a school board member ask for us to, as a school board, decide priorities for construction outside of our facilities department.
Well, that's because we've never done it, Ashley. We've built one school, that was it.
There's been lots of schools built here. I'm not since I've been on the board.
Yeah, well, since, a few years.
Right, but what I'm saying is have we done it this way before?
We've not had anything of this magnitude ever come to us before. The capital projects that we've done have been just scheduled maintenance, mostly Band-Aids.
No,
We've
I
been just
understand. I
getting
understand
by.
that. No, I understand that.
We've
I
only
know we
built one
just got.
school
I
since
know we
you and I
just.
both been on the board.
Right, and I know that we just got a large sum of money. That's kind of where my comments were headed through the sales tax initiative. And I'm worried that if we as a board set a precedent of having pet projects that we prioritize, it's
This
not
is not a
fair
pet
to the
project, this
rest
is
of
a
the
need.
county.
It was a need that was recognized by the operations department and
It
put
is,
in the
I'm
plan.
not saying that it's not a
Okay,
need.
well, it
I am
wasn't-
not
it
saying
wasn't-
that. That's not how, I didn't intend it that way. My point was that we have needs across the county.
Absolutely.
Right?
I agree.
And I think that there has to be a process that we follow that's fair to everybody. That's the point of my statement. I don't want to pick and choose which communities we focus on as a board. I think it's more fair when it comes through our facilities department because they are the experts.
Which it did come through the facilities department.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, Ms.
did. It
Bullock.
wasn't-
I understand that. But I think it's important that we allow the proper protocols to be followed when it comes to decisions like this. And I think the feasibility study is important. Yeah, I think it's important that we have all the pieces of the puzzle before we make any decisions.
Well, I'm very disappointed because I really would like to see that us all work collaboratively together and pushing it off further and further and further. Mrs. Bullock's not asking us to start construction next week. She's not asking you to go out and pull permits. She's asking you to commit to putting this in the 3-year plan so that it's the 3rd school built, not the 5th, 6th, 8th, or 15th down the road. Because, as she put it, Keystone is forever having the can kicked down the road. That's what she's asking for, and I'm very disappointed that we're not working collaboratively as a board. So that's all I have to say.
Ms. Clark, any comment?
Well, I'd like to say all those homes being built, I'd like to sell every one of them. But when I look at this, I see Keystone on here, and I see that we want to do it right. And right now, construction is horrendous to even get somebody to come out and do a survey, to do an appraisal. I mean, it's months. But to me, because Keystone, it's going to be very special and much more cumbersome than just building RA that we've already built. To me, this tells me 2 to 5, well, we're going to push ahead, but for what's here, that's going to take a lot more work than just building R&A, so that's why they spread it from 2 to 5. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, but that's how I take it. It's still an immediate need. It's just we've got a lot more involved, and we don't know how long it's going to take, but it's here, presented now, and we're working on it.
You see, the thing is, the kids are already in that school. The capacity, it's already at 111%. They're already there. The overcrowding is there. And this was the solution to help with that by creating a middle school, taking 6th graders out of the elementary, which would correct that problem. And then high school students, the junior high students that were in the high school would go over, and that would eliminate the portables for the Portable Reduction Act. How many portables are at that school?
Keystone, are we talking, the high school, I mean, they've got at least 50.
50 portables.
Yeah, but
So we'd
that's,
be
I mean, that's every high
eliminating-
school.
Well, that's a high school and a junior high, so I would imagine that some of those 50 will be eliminated, and that was the whole idea with this. And I honestly, I'm so disappointed that we're not being more proactive to help the Keystone area right now.
I have a question about, so I was at Keystone Heights High School over the weekend. What would it do to the capacity at the high school if we open a junior high school? Because they would lose 2 grade levels. So that would be 400 students. So what would their capacity rate be then?
This is all part of the feasibility study. That's what they're looking into right now. How many students they have currently, what we can do with this property. Can we do a smaller size junior high, smaller size elementary? I mean, that all ties into this feasibility study.
Because then,
And I'm just respectfully asking, we've got to have the time to do that and get good input to have good output.
Because
and
if
I don't want to rush
we
that,
don't take those
and we're
things into
doing it.
consideration, I can see that being damaging to the high school's funding and being able to run the programs that they need to run if they don't have enough
The
students
Keystone
and
Elementary
seats.
School is the top priority there.
I hear
mean,
you,
so
yeah.
even if you didn't do the junior, senior high school right away, but did the Keystone Elementary, because that's the one that is in serious trouble.
Well, I think
because of the-
that's why we need the feasibility study. I think that's why it's important that we have all the pieces of the puzzle, because when you build one school, it's a trickle effect, right? It's going to affect capacity at other schools. So I think feasibility is important, and I think I'm more than willing to look at building a school in Keystone, more than willing, but I just want to do it the right way.
Any further discussion? So it's been moved by Ms. Gelhausen, second by Ms. Clark, to approve the elementary school R architect contract award. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
I'm going to say no because I don't agree with us not working collaboratively, so I'm voting no on it.
You need to-
The vote was passes with Ms. Bullock and Ms. Karakis voting against it. Okay. You know what? Did we ever do your presentation?
No. I was going to call you back on
Yeah.
that, superintendent's updates.
Well, it's funny because I was seeing the school board attorney remarks, and I thought, wait a minute, did we ever hear from you, Mr. Brodsky? Mr. Brodsky, thank you for your patience.
I'll shorten it and just kind of, get to the point. First, I just want to thank Ms. Kidwell for her comments. It's positive all the time. Thank you so much. And Lonnie, heard what you said and about the field, the grass cutting one, and I agree with you 100%. One of the things I'd point out about that issue is just that based on our custodial staffing, I think part of the thought process with COVID, 3 things we were focusing on was social distancing, the use of masks, and also the cleanliness inside. So having extra people inside is an important part. But I did hear what you. I wasn't going to do this, so I'm just going to click through them quick. Okay, those are the topics for this evening. Strategic plan as part of the OPAGA audit. You can see under superintendent says strategic plan. You guys all got the brochure. Lots of good stuff in there. Anybody that's out there listening at this point, you can check it out right there on the website. Controlled open enrollment. It looks like we got 189 applications. The deadline is April 9th. 100 of those applications are new FTE from out of county, so good job on that. Looks like we'll have a lottery at the elementary schools because you can see it's getting close to the available number of seats. There's the lottery process. April celebrations, we've already celebrated Ms. Smith. It is National Assistant Principals Week, and let me tell you, there's some unsung heroes out there. Assistant principal, tough job. So I really thank all of them. Elementary art display, April 16th to the 18th, J.C. Penney Courtyard. And then the secondary is April 23rd to 25th. They'll have safety protocols there. How about this? Michaela Buchanan, Jacksonville 40 under 40 honoree. I can't tell you, this is a pretty big deal, 40 under 40, and she does a great job. We celebrate her. She was smart to go home. She left with the athletes. Okay, is she back there? Or did I miss her? Okay. Like I said, that's why she's a 40 under 40, because she was smart enough to leave. The state testing calendar. There you go. A lot has been made about assessments, and certainly I'm not a big fan of the overuse of assessment, but they do serve a purpose in helping us place students appropriately. I know nobody likes to talk in those terms. Everybody just wants to say how much they hate the test, but there is a little bit of value that goes with it, and I just want to kind of point that out. Testing season begins right around the corner now, and we want everybody to come prepared for that. I know there's legislation in the Florida legislature, a lot of talk about it and everything else, and I know this, we want students to do the very best they can on the test, so we know where to place them appropriately in the future. All the other stuff takes care of itself if everybody just simply does their very best. And so I know everybody will as that time comes forward. Vaccine, we're very proud of our partnership with emergency, the emergency management division out there. There's some more information there. It looks like, it's going to go full board for anybody that wants one here coming up shortly under the governor's order. And so anybody that feels like they want to do that, of course, it's voluntary. I certainly would call that to their attention. Remember, stay home if you're sick and continue to follow those protocols. We're so close, and look at how far we've come from the time where we just shut everything down and on the 13th of March last year to where we are now. I mean, it's just amazing. I just ask for a little bit more patience as we move forward. And that's it. And just want to thank the board for all their efforts. I think, today's meeting, I too, whoever said that they were proud of the way that the meeting turned out, I too am very proud of the way that the meeting turned out. I think it shows the spirit of Clay County and the people that we have in our county, and I'm very appreciative to the board for all that you do. And Ms. Bullock, I will tell you this, I'm committed to working together on the issue. I know your passion for the community. I'm committed to doing that, and I think you just have to have a little bit more, a little patience on the issue. I know that it's tough because I listen to the passion that you speak with it about the issue, and I feel that, I really do. Okay, I'm just asking for a little bit of patience as we get the feasibility study. We look at the priorities that the district has, and then, my job's to implement what the board decides, right? And so, but if you just give us that little bit of time, we're right there by June. We would
Yes,
have
by
that.
June, we'll have something.
We could set the workshop, and then you can all have, discussion with all the information on the table. You guys will make the very best decision, and we'll implement the decision that you guys make. Okay? I feel bad when we have conversation and it appears like there's disagreement. Disagreement. Not everybody agrees on everything, right? At the same time, I do feel that, and I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you, Mr. Broski. Mr. Bickner, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we are at the point in the agenda where I ask you if you have any school board attorney comments.
We are, and you have done a marvelous job of starting in the middle, wheeling back to the beginning, and then jumping around until it got done.
Made a few
So
bumps, but
it
that's
looked
okay. That's, part
looked
of
like tap
part of a
dancing on a
journey.
checkerboard. It was great.
Great.
But it came out very well.
It worked out very
Congratulations.
well.
I do have one thing I would like to bring up. Part of the Board Policy 1.02 covers our method of governing ourselves with Robert's Rules of Order. The rule itself says that we are, quote, guided by rather than, which is what I've always said is we are very loosely following Robert's Rules of Order. I have brought up several times on several instances the idea of using the abbreviated or small board rules, and usually it raises somebody's hackles. But the more I read the small board rules and the more I look at how we run our business, the more I think that the small board rules are what we're at anyway. Under the normal rules of procedure, under Robert's rules, the board chair cannot enter into the debate without passing the gavel. Under the normal rules, Robert rules, the board chair cannot vote without passing the gavel. Under the normal rules of Robert rules, anytime one of you wants to say anything, you have to stand up and ask for the chair to recognize you, and the chair has to stand up and recognize you. So all of those are Robert's rules. We don't follow any of them. But we do follow 99% of what we do with Robert's rules for small boards. And so I think the reason I'm bringing it up is I would like to send a proposal to each of you and to the superintendent and anybody else that's interested, which shows what Robert's rules for small boards would look like It would entail an adoption to amend the one little section we've got, but it doesn't change much of what we do. There are one or two things that it does change. For instance, the board chair would not have to pass a gavel to second a motion. The board chair would not have to pass a gavel to make a motion, but it still would have to be seconded. You can manipulate them however you want to, but my whole point is, whenever I say Robert's Rules for a small board, people say, no, we're not doing that, and yet we don't do what Robert's Rules do. Another example is whenever somebody says, oh, well, we just need to lay that on the table. Laying something on the table is not what you want to do, because anytime you put something on at a special date, it's a motion to postpone to a specific date or a time certain. And so just those things that we're doing incorrectly or not doing at all steer me toward Robert's Rules for small boards. And so I would like to do that. The worst that can happen is you look at it and you'll throw it back at me and say, forget it. Or 3 or 4 of you may like it, or maybe all 5 of you will find it palatable once I get it done. So if that's agreeable with everybody, that's what I'm going to do. Any issues?
I don't see any.
Okay. The worst
Hear any issues?
the worst can be is you use
I mean,
it
we
to
can
light
look
your
at it.
grill.
Yeah. Let's look at it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Clark, any comments for this evening? Can you put your microphone on and speak
Okay.
into it? And you need to be a little bit more aggressive with it.
Gotcha. I was just happy to see so many people show up. Apparently, there were a lot more outside that we didn't even know about. So we live, obviously, like they said, in a wonderful community, and we're blessed.
It's my understanding there were over like an additional 300 outside that we weren't able to see. So thank you. Ms. Karakas?
I have nothing.
Ms. Bullock?
Just have a couple of things. First of all, enjoyed the play at Orange Park High School, and I went to Ridgeview High School's National Honor Society induction. I was glad to do that. And then I didn't attend this, but I just had a text from somebody that said the Miss KHHS, the queen was Queen Wagner, and she won by she is the captain of the weightlifting team, and she did a demonstration of weightlifting as her talent. And she was the queen. And the first runner-up was a guard on the basketball team, and she did her talent was doing a science experiment. So times are changing. No baton twirling anymore. So.
Thank you, Ms. Bullock. Ms. Gilhausen?
I got to judge the Miss Keystone Heights High School pageant.
Oh,
I
so
sure
was that- so you
did.
got
That's
to
why I
see
was
that?
there. I did, and those talents were phenomenal.
So-
Phenomenal. And all of the girls did such a wonderful job. They were all so poised. And,
Oh, good.
it was an honor. And
good.
Keystone is such a special community. It is just small town America, and the people there just don't get any friendlier. So I enjoy any time I get to go down there. It was a fun night. So that's all I have.
Thank you. There have been many activities that we've been able to get more involved with. I just want to do a shout out to Oakleaf High and Oakleaf Junior High for doing the joint band concert. Wow, their jazz ensemble just blows my mind. And they said, well, why weren't you at the jazz night? And I was like, well, we had a school board meeting. And they were like, oh, I guess you had to go to that. And I'm like, invite us, continue to invite us. In addition, the Oakleaf ROTC had their first pass and review out on the football field. And you couldn't help but notice how beautiful that football field truly is. And I'm very, very happy that we were able to pass the RFP tonight. And I just want to do a shout out to Patrick Murphy and his comments, because they truly hit home for me. Last but not least, I truly value the opportunity to work collaboratively. And when we disagree, whatever that case might be, I know for a fact that oftentimes we come back together and agree. And with all of the information that we can gather, the more information that we can gather, the better off we're all going to be. Thank you, everyone. A blessed Easter, blessed Passover, whatever you happen to celebrate, even if it's just being with your family for the weekend. Enjoy yourselves and have a safe evening. Take